Welcome to a new episode of a show we like to call Depreciation Nation. If you are finding us for the first time, welcome. And if you've been following us for some time, welcome back. Now behind me, you are going to see a 2021 Audi SQ7. But before I get into that, why don't you hit that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen if you like some of the most eclectic automotive content on YouTube. Now, today's car comes courtesy of Taylor. The SQ7 is something that I have wanted to get in for a while. I have not driven one of these before. I have driven an SQ5, and this is the big brother. Now, this is a 2021 factory. They come with 500 horsepower, 568 pound-feet of torque, but this one has had a tune, and we cannot wait to experience that. So, suffice to say, it is pushing well north of 500 horsepower at this time. Now, we all like fast cars, we all like sports cars, but if you need an only car where you can't have multiples like some do, we are trying to feature some of those cars that are everything to everyone. Now, this car comes well equipped with a very nice interior, lots and lots of power, sports car-like handling, and it's got a nice look to it as well. So, if you need an only car that you can take to the tail of the Dragon as well as go to Home Depot and pick up a load of mulch, this might be for you. Now, again, we can cite factory specs all day long, but at the end of the day, our favorite thing to do is tell you how these cars feel. And that's what we're going to do right now. If you've been following the channel, you know that we are not strangers to high horsepower cars, but it has been a minute since we brought you one. Now, I have driven an SQ5. I have had a lot of experience with the Audi Sport brand, but this is the first SQ7 that I have driven, and I don't think I've driven a Q7. And first initial impressions are that it's fantastic. It drives like a car. It sounds like a high horsepower car. We've got pops between the shifts, and it's tuned, you said. So what kind of power are we putting out?
I think we're a little over 710 or so on pump octane 93. It's got a 100 to 104 compatible tune to it, but I'll just leave it on 93 for the ease of finding the octane.
And why the SQ7 for you?
I really wanted the SQ8, but it's a lot like the A7 and the S6, where you get a little prettier car for $30,000 more, and
right.
I just couldn't justify the cooler shape with one less row of seats for $30,000 more, so I ended up with this.
And how long have you had it?
I really wanted the S6 over this, but they just didn't have the V8 anymore. They took it out of it, they killed me, so really wanted that 4.0 back.
And how long have you had this?
Well, about a half a year now. It's probably rolling on 6 months now.
So I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but it does sound fantastic between shifts, and I'm pretty sure we are going to get it opened up here so that hopefully the camera can pick it up. And it's comfortable. It's very comfortable. The seats are fantastic. The interior is great, as of course every Audi interior is.
You've actually got the flick on your seat here. You can adjust your bolsters and pop up here and out in, roll in and out on the
very cool.
Drive a little harder, you can squeeze yourself into the seat.
Steering is nice. Relatively direct.
Don't feel like you have to be easy on it, man. Feel free to four-wheel slide it. I took it to the tail of the Dragon a couple weeks ago, and man, it was fantastic. Surprisingly fantastic. 318 curves in a third row SUV.
That is awesome. It drives fantastic. These speed humps are why I'm not sending it.
The Audi Club, the national club, actually sponsored the run that day on the tail of the Dragon. So what are the odds I would have went and saw every Audi I love going down the other direction?
Right.
Darn it, I'm going the wrong way. It's cool. There were a lot of R8s, RS3s, one SQ7, SQ8. It's not the common rally curve car. It does fine.
Go ahead and give it some power through here. And it is something.
Doesn't leave you bored.
No, not at all. We just got passed by a guy in a Tesla, and they may be faster, but I guarantee you they're not half as exciting. Now, that was a fantastic experience.
It's good fun. It's all I had a sales guy tell me when I test drove one that I'm aware of how the quattro system works. You know, don't hit the brakes and then turn your unsure of.
Right.
The difference going 80 off an exit ramp and hitting the brakes or hitting the gas all the way to the floor is night and day. I'd much rather floor it off the exit ramp than be hitting the brake. And torque vector, it just makes this thing grab the road like nothing.
Now, my S3 is potent enough, but it is nothing like that.
It's surprising. A lot of people in the forums are worried about snapping axles and things, and these with the amount of power they're putting down the same parts they've shared in 200 horsepower down to products for years. I think a lot of this is still shared from the Touareg and the Q7 platform of the past.
And every time you do that, you just can't help but smile.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's one of the only cars that after 6 months I still laugh every time I take off. I mean, usually that's probably I've got more cars in my age at this point, and this is one I really just don't really have anything to complain about except our fuel cost doubled like 2 days after I bought it. So that's kind of gotten pricey, but
So it has touch screens, and if people follow the channel, they know that I don't like touch screens, but there's one thing worse than a touch screen, and that's the infotainment on the A3 S3, or at least the last gen A3 S3, where we have a screen that looks like it should be a touch screen, but instead they give you a stupid knob that's not very intuitive to get lost into the menus with. And we do have some features on the steering wheel of those cars that are supposed to provide some shortcuts, but they don't work very well. And so that is a complaint that I have about my S3, and so this is one time that I am not going to complain about a touch screen because it's more user-friendly than what I've got.
Yeah, it's something to get used to. Once you're aware of where everything is at, it's no big thing. But I would have forgone this second useless screen for a real thin strip of knobs and more storage space. And this is all I get, and this is a wireless charger that charges at 1% for 2 hours. So it's useless. It takes all my storage out, and I got fingerprints to wipe off all the time, which is a little annoying. I do like your car to be clean, but this is impossible to keep clean for more than 5 minutes interior.
The thing about this is my best comparison when I talk about touch screens are people used to be able to text and drive safely because you could literally just count the clicks on your phone and know what letter you were on and move forward. And now we've got the touch screens, and touchscreen infotainment is no different than that. There's no feeling for anything. It's just flat, it's smooth. But having said all of that, as far as touch screens go, even though I don't like them, this is one of the better units that I've seen recently.
I'll give it to it. If you touch around, it's got haptic feedback, so it really makes you feel a little bit like you're pressing a button.
Do you feel for your fingerprints when you're driving?
I don't know where my screen wipe is. That was actually a package with these. They gave you a screen wipe package to keep your glossy interior clean, which I think is hilarious. But yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful interior, but it's the little things like urethane coated carbon fiber. Girl got on the car and nicked it with the jeans button, and so I got a scratch. I can't really stop staring at it. But it's part of the car aging, but it is the glossy scratches and stuff easy, so it's a little bit not like the aluminum they've had in the cars for years, because you couldn't really scratch it. Clean, supposed to, you couldn't see it.
Now, you said that this drove through the turns like a smaller car, and when I read that, honestly, I found that difficult to believe. I mean, we have size, but I don't feel like I'm driving a car the size that the car actually is. There's no roll, there's no pitch, there's no nothing. It's basically just a high wagon.
Yeah, it was real. I was up in Columbus a set of triple F event a week or two ago, last weekend I think. Parked right next to an RS6, and it's awesome. I mean, it's a way sleeker looking version of this.
Right.
Why is his double money for less of a car? I'd much rather have his all day. I love the wagon platform, but it does drive a lot like a smaller car, but it's got a little bit of tracking to it that annoys you, and I think it's those big 22-inch
Right.
wheels that are
Right. My S3 has similar issues, and it's got a 19 on it, which is really,
scale of the car.
yeah, really about the biggest wheel I'd want on that.
I remember taking my S6 or E6, one of the two, from the 18s to the 20s. Man, it was night and day. Like, I love the look of it, but going ride quality difference once you're used to driving the smaller wheel for a couple of years, it was just
Right.
big difference. These are so big that if you put much smaller than 20 on it, they start to look a little off. It just doesn't. Big windshield, big grill, everything's kind of bigger on here. You put
Right.
a tiny wheel on it, kind of looks like it's on shopping cart tires or something.
Yeah. So it's got utility, it's got size, it drives like a car.
I mean, I've taken it through the tail of the dragon, and I've towed other cars with it, so. And I've ran it 11.5 mile at a racetrack. So
And we've joked all day about trying to break the clutch loose on my Quattro
Yeah.
with this.
We can try it. I think 700 pounds of torque should move a clutch.
Oh, I'm not worried about moving it. I'm worried about running into the back of it.
Yeah.
So folks, utility, room, convenience, and lots of power. That's the SQ7. And that is the SQ7. Now, we didn't get to experience the 500 horsepower and 568 pound-feet of torque because, as mentioned earlier, this car is making north of 700. However, it is incredibly fast, offers an incredible amount of utility, and the driving characteristics are absolutely phenomenal. So, can you only have one car? This car might be for you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen so that you don't miss more awesome content like this, and we'll talk to you soon.